Welcome to the Fractional Show. Today we've got Desi and Tyson Williams, who are the club leaders of the Idaho Real Estate Investment Club. They're doing some really awesome things, and let's just get right into it. Give me your 60-second spiel. Who are you? What's this club about? And why should someone care?
We are Desi and Tyson Williams, located in southern Idaho, and we are real estate. We own a small real estate brokerage team, and
we also invest in real estate.
Yeah.
So we opened up our fund, or our club, to invest in just basically what we've been doing, which is fix and flips, and we do some wholesaling because we actually do close on them. But we do that here in southern Idaho, and the club that we're doing is a little bit unique because we're doing an equity club, so that our club members are actually 50-50 owners in all the projects that we do. So
I love that. And that's really unique, right? Usually in the flipping game, we see most of the times people are offering debt, a fixed return, and you guys are bringing folks in on equity and giving them the upside. Why did you decide on that structure?
I would say, so this is our first club, and we just really wanted it to be a win for our club members. And so we felt like doing that equity piece would really get them involved and provide a big win for them. And then that should be a catalyst maybe for future investments.
Love that. And I love that there's two of you. We got a power couple right here. And, what do each of you bring to the table, and how do you feel like this partnership, this dynamic duo, it, does what a solar operator couldn't?
I just bring the pretty face and the sparkling attitude and the optimism.
So I guess my side of it is I help find opportunities, and then I put her in front of the sellers because she kills it with the sellers. So she's able to convert them over really easily. And I feel like her being a woman has helped a lot with our conversion because I would say in the investing space, there's a lot of dudes that show up. And I think that's kind of a unique position that we have is, she shows up and can maybe connect with them a little better with the sellers. And then I also have an accounting background, so a lot of the deal analysis and things comes back to me. So together, we're finding the deals, getting these sellers under contract, and making sure that we're going to make a profit on the deal.
And I'm good at cracking the whip on the contractors.
Yeah, for sure.
Get them working.
That's important. Hey, you're the master communicator over here. You're getting the sellers locked in, and then you're keeping the contractors on track. I love it. And Tyson and Desi, I'm curious, when you guys started this club, finish the sentence for me, right? You started the club because you kept meeting people who?
Well, we had a lot of people who were like, hey, if there's a deal that you don't want, would you just send it our way? And we were kind of like, well, if there's a deal we don't want, you wouldn't want it either because it's not going to make you money. And so we just kept getting more and more deals, and we were like, well, how could we bring more of our community and more of our friends and our family locally and out of state into what we're doing, because people have been curious and asking questions and they want to be part of it. And so we were like, well, how can we make that happen? And then that's when we kind of found Fractional. So
I'd also say, kind of adding on to that, is people are coming to us looking for advice, how do we find a flip? How do we analyze a flip? How do we get money for the flip? And it's well, instead of sitting on the sideline and just letting me tell you, why don't you join us at the club and I will show you everything that we're doing. So it's a way for them to kind of get behind the scenes.
Exactly. I love that. It's like they now get a seat at the table with you two as their partners, and they get to learn and earn through the process. So I want to double click into that, right? What exactly is your process? I know the two of you guys are pretty much the top player in the Idaho market. Walk me through, what does finding a deal look like step by step?
So we find our deals 4 different ways. So the first is TV commercials. We do mailers. We do a couple different PPL lead sources. And then one overlooked one is on the MLS. We've gotten some of our best margins off of properties that are actively listed with other agents. So, if we're looking on the MLS, we have to go find the deal. But otherwise, there are a lot of inbound leads.
Yeah.
And so the lead comes in.
And then you go on the appointment.
Then I go on the appointment. I close them. And then we get the inspection done. We line up the subcontractors so they're not on top of each other. And we make sure our budget and everything is in line. And then we like to schedule the stager about a week before the contractors are supposed to be done. And then we get it staged, we get it photographed, and then we put it on the market.
Man, you make it sound so easy. I know there's a lot of properties you're looking at, right? Like, how many deals on average, are you saying no to before you finally find one that's a yes?
I would say, we don't really say no. What we say is this is what we can offer. And then we leave it to the seller to tell us no. So it's like, hey, this is what we need to make it work. Like if that doesn't work for you, we totally get it. But like this is where we need to be at. And I would say right now we're probably getting, what do you think, 1 in 5?
That's what I would say. And it's a hard number to say because like we had one that I went on 4 weeks ago and they had chosen to go with a different person. And I was like, this is what they're going to do. They're going to tell you this, do this and this. And she called me today and she's like, oh my gosh, you weren't lying. They did all of that. Like, we want to go with you. And so now we're buying that one. But I was counting that as one of the 5 that fell through. So yeah, it's kind of hard to say.
Yeah. So there are a couple wholesalers in our area that, and they're not even from our area, a lot of them, that, they're marketing to the same people. So they'll throw out an offer sight unseen, and
it's way higher.
The seller's thinking like, oh sweet, these guys are going to give me an extra 20 grand. Like obviously I'll go with them. And then a week or two goes by and the communication starts to drop off and that inspection they were supposed to do never happens. And then closing day comes and goes and they're going, what the heck? I thought I had my house sold. And then they call us back and like, you're a real person. Can you come by my house now? So.
Yeah, but I'd say about 1 in 5 convert right now.
Yeah. I mean, I love what you both said because one, I think it's so important, Tyson, you mentioned like you guys are strict on what you want to offer, right? You don't get emotional and start, just over competing. You're like, this is what we can do. And then, Desi comes in with her master negotiation and communication skills, right? And, helps the seller understand like, you might, get convinced by something that looks really flowery initially, but that's not reality. And they, end up coming back to you guys as who they pick because, you've built the relationship. You've shown them that, you guys are the real deal in getting it done. And, I saw in the club, right, like you guys have a specific buy box, which I love, single family homes, ARV under 350, repairs under 50. Why those numbers? Like, what did you learn that led you to that specific criteria?
So I think a lot of it comes down to understanding your market and the market that you're in. Because if you buy something that's way above the average sales price for the area, the days on market just goes up and the buying pool gets smaller. And so our goal is to buy properties that are going to appeal to the majority of the buyers in our area. And in our area, that happens to be under the $350,000. And then when you buy other properties like condos or trailers in a park or manufactured homes not on a foundation, you get into financing issues. And we just want to purchase properties that we know are going to be easy to sell when we're ready to sell them.
Yeah, we're going for, speed so that we can turn our money more frequently than, it's like, oh yeah, I could buy this $1 million house and try and make like a $300,000 spread, but it's going to take me 18 months to renovate it and probably another 6 months to get it sold. It's just like, well, in the meantime, I could flip that same money 6 times.
Yeah, playing that volume game instead.
Yep.
Yeah. And I want to hear some juicy details on this. Have there been deals that looked great on the surface, but, you decided to walk away from it and what happened there?
The one that just popped into my mind was that one in Buell. It was a straight up hoarder house. And we had this lady negotiated, we both agreed, and, you know, we had the inspector go out, and he said, if you ever stopped moving, all the things in the room started to move because there was so many mice in the clutter that was there. He was like, it was so gross, and the one little pathway through the middle was just full of mouse poop. And it was a lot. And we actually, it's like, I would say it's not one that fell apart because what we ended up doing with that one is we found somebody else to buy it and we just took the spread on it. But it was like, that was one that I didn't want to even hear about digging through that trash. Like, I didn't want to go back in it again. But
Yeah, so bad.
Man, I'm just imagining it in my head, and yeah, it is giving me goosebumps in a very bad way.
So there's another one we went into, and I actually ended up listing this one instead. But I walked in, and the first thing they did was like push some stuff, like a pile of junk, in front of the door, so I couldn't leave. And then I look at the back door, and it's bolted, like multiple bolts, and I'm like, oh, I'm locked in here. Cool. So I texted Tyson 911, come get me, and that was like all I had time to say. And then we're meeting with these people, and they're clearly on substance. And I'm like looking around the room like, okay, I don't have an escape. Like, what's my plan? There's like a giant machete next to the one guy, like sitting on his nightstand. And then the first story, the lady starts telling me, she's like, do you like the walls? I'm like, they're very dark green. They're forest green. She goes, actually, it's John Deere green. And I was like, wow, okay. She's like, yeah, that was the only color that would cover the blood. And I was like, what? So we chose not to. We chose not to.
yeah, they were very paranoid because the lady had broken up with some guy that was not a good guy. So he was like, that's why they had like everything barricaded and weapons around, as they were afraid
They
that
thought he was going to come.
he was going to come.
sabotage
So
them.
it was
It's weird.
crazy
That is
situations.
crazy. It's like a horror movie over here. Yeah.
They were actually really nice.
They were
people.
really
They were
nice.
yeah, really nice people. But
And then to add to that, she painted the kitchen John Deere yellow. So if you've ever seen a tractor that's yellow, that's what her kitchen looked like.
yeah,
Wow. John Deere green and John Deere yellow. That's a very fashionable color combination, right?
Well, we're a small town.
we're in
it
a rural
fits.
market, so everyone has a tractor.
That's funny.
Wow, that is a lot of crazy tea. I want to get into the renos, right? Because you guys are taking these really crazy properties and then turning them into something beautiful. And Desi, when you told the story of, you know, how you wanted, I think there was a seller, right? You wanted her to see what the finished product was, like how that meant to you and the seller. You know, like walk me through what you're considering in doing the renovations and, you know, keeping the budgets lean as well.
Yeah, so ideally, we want to create affordable housing, right? And so if we go crazy and spend too much on the renovations, then there's not the margin in there to be able to keep the price low enough where it is affordable housing for someone. And so typically we kind of have just like a rinse and repeat style that we use. So all of the interiors are Highlander white. So our painter has that color on stock, and it's two different sheens, one for the wall and then shinier for the base. And he just knows that's what we're going to do on every house. We've got a cabinet style that we put in most of the houses. You know, we'll vary the wood a little bit here and there. And then we try to do nicer in countertops, like some quartz or something. And yeah, we don't spend a ton of money on landscaping the outside. And the flooring, we just do LVP and carpet.
Yeah, so just try and make it look good, make it look presentable. A lot of these homes are usually to a point where like the roof needs replaced, and it's like the seller can't afford to fix the roof, so that's one reason why they're taking like a cash offer instead. So some of that stuff doesn't really necessarily improve the value, but it makes it so it is sellable on the market. So putting on a new roof, paint, carpet, and LVP, that's like ideal for us. And then
And we don't want to cut corners because we are like, we're going to know the buyer and we're
we're
going
in
to
the
see them
market.
all the time. And so it's like, we want to make sure that we're doing good quality work.
Yeah. winning in the long run.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Desi, I know you said one of your superpowers is staying on top of the contractors and cracking the whip, right? So now I'm imagining you, in a denim jacket showing up, boss lady. How are you doing that in practice?
So we have a Trello board so that way we can kind of keep track of where projects are at. And then we just have notes in there like, okay, next week this guy needs to get in there. And then I'm literally calling and texting them like their babysitter, just making sure they're getting their jobs done. And something we found super efficient is because they'll say like, oh yeah, I've got it done. And it's like, okay, just send me a picture when you have it done so that way we know. And then they send us a picture, we can upload it in the Trello board, and then we go check on the projects. He's been checking on them more than me lately, but we go check on them like once a week just to see kind of where we're at or see if there's any revisions that need done.
I'd say also it's been some trial and error on like this contractor will show up when they say they will, and this one won't. And this one sticks to their bid, and this one always fluffs it up after, it's like, oh no, had this extra thing. So being able to sift through some of those not so desirable contractors and really getting a good core group has been really helpful in the last few years.
And what's been nice is we've been more consistent is we can just have them go from one job to the next. So they're almost working exclusively for us, which is great.
Yeah.
That's amazing. And that's how you get the economies of scale too, right? It's, you basically got the market dominance there, especially with the team that you have and having the all-stars, right? The ones that aren't fluffy, just be here on the long run and scaling with you guys. Yeah. And I'm curious on, the timeline because I've seen you guys do deals that have been 5 days and some that are 151 days, right? What's the difference between something that's moving fast versus something that takes a little bit longer?
For sure. So sometimes I would say on the shorter ones, it's more like, hey, like that hoarder house, for example, it's like we found somebody to buy it before we closed and then they closed like a week later. There's other ones where it's like some of our best ones we've literally bought off the MLS, got a cleaning person in there, staged it, took pictures and reposted it. Like
We didn't do anything
didn't
else.
do anything else. Like it was just poorly marketed and we were able to take advantage there. And then there's others where we're like, oh yeah, we're putting on a new roof. We're having to do drywall. We're doing kitchens and those take a little bit of time. And then also like our buyers kind of put an effect on that because there is that 90-day FHA rule. So if we have a buyer that's using an FHA loan, they need 90 days from our date of purchase to be able to get that loan. So when we're selling to that group of people, it does take some time there.
And then one of them, a couple of the ones that have taken the longest was when we were trying a new contractor and they were just not good. They just didn't get it done in a timely manner. Then they did a bad job, so we had to have them
Find
redo a
somebody
bunch of
else,
stuff.
or-
Then we had to find somebody else. And it just wasn't, the job wasn't managed. Or we underestimated, like we didn't realize when we took the drywall down what was behind it. And so unanticipated
Yeah, repairs
repairs that
pop
we
up.
were just like, oh, we did not know that we would have to redo that whole thing.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's the biggest thing for me when I'm investing in a new strategy. It's like you don't know that there's all these, points of failure, things that will go wrong, right? Which is why, ultimately when people say your network is your net worth, like that applies in who you partner with too, right? It's like I get to invest and, be on the shoulders of giants, which, are you two, right? Where I don't have to do my own, trials by error where I'm getting, a not so great contractor or I'm learning this thing can go wrong, that thing can go wrong. And, all of a sudden I'm not operating as efficiently as I could, right, as an investor. So I think there are, some major wins with working with you two. And, for me, I'm based out of California and Idaho is definitely a very interesting market. What do you feel like, is really unique about where you guys are at? There's always constant market shifts, right? Has Idaho been something that's been really great in weathering through that?
So I would say the great thing about where we're at specifically is it's a very stable market and it has been forever. Like you look back and it's just been very, very steady. And for a while, we saw lots of people from your state flooding over to Boise and that market. And then those guys kind of pushed over to our market. But what we saw was just kind of a steady increase. And what happened is there were more builds and things. So we were able, rather than like the prices shooting up, they've just been kind of steady. And so there hasn't been any big drops, like even during '08 and the housing crisis, like there was not huge drops in this area. It's just been pretty steady, a steady increase, I would think.
Yeah, and I would say also just, comparing it to California is just affordability. So being able to buy a house for $150,000, putting 50 into it, and then selling it for maybe 275, 300, like you're not doing that where you're at.
And the permitting process. It doesn't take us 2 years to get a permit. Like it's very easy. There's not inspections and things like that. Like it's a very simple. Our contracts aren't 100 pages. They're, just a few. So less red tape to cut, I guess.
Yeah, you have me sold on that one. The permitting definitely makes a huge difference. And now I want to go back to, who you both are as operators. Clearly the top in your market. What was that moment when you realized that you guys had an edge, that other operators in your market didn't have?
I'd say, so like our main business is on our real estate side. So having just the volume that we do on like our real estate team, where we're helping sellers and buyers buying properties, we naturally were getting these flip opportunities or buy and hold opportunities. So it's like, hey, there's, we flip a house and we make as much as like 5 commissions. It's like, this is way better. Let's focus a little bit more on that. Mm-hmm. And then I think also with that, we know the market really good. So like we know what something's going to sell for once it's cleaned up, as opposed to like some of these, other investors that are trying to come from out of the market. It's like, you're not from here. So if you're applying what your knowledge is from Utah, like it doesn't necessarily transfer over.
That's gold. I mean, I think it's like you guys being boots on the ground, being from the world, right? Like, exactly what's going to hit. It's like that gives you the superpower to decide, how much to spend, what's the right listing price, how to strategize for the maximum sale without sitting as long on the market, right? It's like all that added together. I mean, I think that's huge. And, with investing, right, like everything comes with a risk. What has been the worst thing that has happened on one of your projects?
We've been worried. I'm always a worst case scenario player. So in my head, I'm always like, okay, what's the worst thing that could happen? And then I worry about it all night long for multiple nights, and then it never happens. The worst thing that's ever happened.
Probably the cemetery one, just going over budget.
Yeah, the cemetery one, we bought one by a cemetery. The neighbors were super quiet. It was great. But the bid that we got, it was our first time trying out this contractor, and they gave us a bid, and then everything on it was just more and more and more. And we overpaid on that one because I let my heart get in the way. The little guy who lived there he was just in a bad way, and it made me sad. He lost his wife, and he was all by himself, and just his son had passed away. Like he was just literally alone. He couldn't walk anymore. He's on a rascal, and we just overpaid for it. Yeah. And then we gave the contractor free reign, and now we manage all of our own subs instead of just having one contractor run the job, because it's like
we can control it.
Yeah. So
in the end, like that one didn't end up too bad. We just made, I think we were less than a 10% profit on it. So it just like ate into our profit margin quite a bit.
And it took a long time.
It was like that 160-day one that you were mentioning. Like that was our longest hold that we had.
Mm-hmm.
What's the plan B, or how have you guys, course corrected from that experience?
Yeah, I would say what Desi mentioned, where it's just like, okay, now we control the subs. So it's like, we have a couple flooring guys, we have a couple painters, we have a roofer, we have like each of these people. And if we feel like they're trying to take advantage of like, oh yeah, I think these guys are going to make a lot, like they start fluffing their bids up a little bit, like we know what stuff should cost, so we can easily go get some secondary bids as opposed to waiting until we get the bill and being like, what the heck?
And I would say that's what's come with experience. Like as a new flipper, I helped one of my clients buy a house that he was going to rehab, and he just went way too deep, didn't understand the cost of things. So over our like different projects we've done, we really do have a good idea of how much things can cost. I can look and be like, oh, that HVAC's going to be $13,489, and I'm like within $10 because we just have done so many projects and we've seen so many bids come through.
For sure.
Makes sense. And, Desi, I know you mentor, newer investors as well, right? What do you feel like every investor should understand about flipping before, they consume too much Alex Hormozy and they're like, I'm going to do everything now, right? What do you feel like they need to know?
I think the most important thing is you can't make up a bad buy on the sell side. So you can't let your emotions get into it. And then I would say the second thing is you have to actually jump in and do it, because you can think about being an investor or a flipper for years and years. And we've been to so many events where we meet these agents and they're like, oh yeah, I'm an investor. And I'm like, oh, how many properties do you own? And they're like, well, I'm planning on which state I want to buy a property in. And it's like, oh.
I'm thinking about what to name my LLC, and then I'm going to get going.
And it's like, you just have to do it. And sometimes the hard lessons that we learn are through mistakes that we made. But a great way to avoid those is to partner with someone who's already doing it at a high level and learn.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what the club is for.
Yep.
And I love to see that you guys already have investors who have joined the club. They're going to be partners. They're going to be a part of this experience. So I want to learn more about, who have worked with you guys and who's backed you in the past. Tell me about your biggest investor, who are they? What do they do for work? What's their family like? Tell me more about that.
So one of our big investors in the past has been my dad. So he ran his own business and sold it and is retired now. And so he funded a lot of our deals. And then we've also past clients that we've worked with that know what we do and have reached out. We've done a couple projects with them where we've pooled some money just from people that we've met that we've done deals with, and they're like, hey, I want to get more involved, but I can't go buy a whole project on my own. Or, it's like, how can I work with you? So we have, 8 or so people, and it's varied. I think some are retired. One guy runs he's like a beekeeper selling honey.
Yeah, we've got, one of them is from our hometown. We have quite a few people that are out of state because in their state, they can't get the kind of returns that we're getting because they're just crazy. Like most of the people we talk to who are doing this are like, oh my gosh, those kind of returns are not possible in our market. So we've got quite a few people we're from Colorado. So we've got some people from Colorado. One's a police officer. He did a lot of commercial investing in Colorado and made a good amount back. And now he's like, I'm gonna invest not in Colorado ever again. A lot of people are selling their rental properties there just because the landlord friendliness is kind of going away. And so those are some other people who've thrown in.
And do you feel like, they want to invest with you guys? Is it for, the cash flow, right? Being able to come back with that. You guys are doing quarterly distributions. Is it the upside now with the equity? What's the, the financial motivation?
I think a lot are seeing the upside. And then a couple of them are doing it because they want to learn. So they want the education piece. And it's like they could take their money and go buy a course and that money's gone, and they might learn from the course. It's or basically they're investing it and getting a return on it and then also getting the education. So it's, a couple of the people are really interested in flipping and they're just looking for that education piece. But then there's also the ones that just want the return. It's I'm retired, I'll put my money with you and you send me money. Yeah. Sounds good to me.
I love it. And I know you guys have, repeat investors too, right? Where they keep coming back. What do you feel like was really special about their experience where, they just want to keep doubling down and partnering with you guys?
I would say our transparency. Like, we are very honest and upfront and fully disclose everything, and they seem to appreciate that is one thing I would think.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's like we show you everything. We show you our invoices. We show you the settlement statements. We show you where our leads are coming from. We show you the marketing pieces that we're sending out. It's like I tell you how much the fractional fee costs. Like all of the things are just out in the open, and I think they've appreciated that.
And then they also like we don't lose. Like, so far we've always won, and so they've also liked that.
Yeah,
feel safe.
they like the returns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's always an easy choice to back winners, right? And that's exactly who you both are. And, I certainly think everything that you mentioned, it truly shows how you're both willing to go above and beyond, right? In creating that really transparent and collaborative experience. And, going on the learnings too, right? It's like you can only learn through the experience if they understand, right? All the reasonings, all the logic, what is happening behind y'all's decisions, and having them be a part of that experience, like that is phenomenal. And how often are you guys communicating with your investors?
So we're doing milestone updates on projects. So it's just like, oh, we got the painter's been through, like, and then we take some pictures. Or so like on the current one, we re-sided it. So I had some updates when the siding was tore off, and then the update when it was on. And then it's like, oh, here's all the garbage, pre-flip, and then 2 weeks or a week later when all of that garbage was taken out.
Yeah.
The only thing they couldn't do is smell that one. That one was very smelly.
It was very smelly. We just have a shared Google Drive, so we just upload the videos and the dates on all of them, and then we just shoot everyone in a group email, and we're like, hey, this is a new update on this one. So.
Which part of the reason, we really were looking at fractional is like that gives us the platform, the portal, where we could just put everything in there, and all that communication is just right there.
Yeah, super easy for investors to just always be caught up, have everything in one place. That way, if they want to ever revisit anything, right, it's super easy to find all of that. And I feel like there's so many different ways where people are able to join the club, right? You can join as yourself, the individual. If you've got an investing entity, you can do that as well. Tyson, what's another way that most people don't think of, but they can actually put their money to work and partner with you guys?
One of the ones that I think are maybe is lesser known is doing that self-directed IRA. So I know a lot of people that have old 401ks or IRAs that are just sitting, or it's just invested in the stock market, and it's like this is a way that they can diversify that and pull some of that over into a self-directed, and then they can invest through self-directed and get whatever tax benefits they're getting from their retirement account. So I think that's a great one that not everybody is familiar with.
Yeah, absolutely. That's definitely been one of my personal favorites. I literally had an account with an old employer, and it didn't even invest in anything. Like it was just sitting there doing literally absolutely nothing. And, I found out, and I was like, well, this is a no-brainer. Like, I'm definitely going to convert that into a self-directed IRA and, go get some double-digit returns in real estate, right? Like, that's going to have my money work way harder for me. So love that. That's an option for anyone to join your club as well. So I feel like I've got a ton of gold on, how you guys operate the day-to-day and the reason why you both are so successful. So I want to now, take that, step back and look at the bigger picture. Why are you guys working so hard? What are you doing this for? What does success look like, in the next 5 years?
So our goal is to be able to spend as much time with our family as possible. We've got 5 kids, and we want to create a world big enough where we can give lots of people opportunities. And so the bigger we grow this, like our painter, we've changed his life. Our tile guy, we've changed his life. Like, just for me, it's providing opportunities to people for them to be able to grow as big of a life as they want to grow, I would say.
Yeah, 100% what she said.
That's huge. And now, the catalyst is going to go towards your club members too, right? It's like, I think, people that are similar attract each other. A lot of your investors are looking for the same thing, where they want to grow their wealth and, spend that time creating beautiful memories with their family. And now it's like your business has grown so much. You're empowering the people who work on your projects, and now also the investors who are going to be part of the club and investing with you guys as well. So that is, so beautiful. And I want to end it with this, right? Like, what do you guys want to be known for?
I think one of the biggest things that's important to me is, kind of do what you say. So it's like, if we say, like, they can trust, and if we say we're going to do it, we do it.
Love it.
I love that.
That's great. That's literally everything that you've said was so true to that. So that's fantastic. Well, I mean, now through this, I'm so excited. I'm literally going to get out of the podcast and join the club myself, because you two are truly people that I want to back. So tell everyone that's listening in, what are next steps for someone who wants to come in and, become a partner in this? And, are there any deadlines or timelines that they should know about?
So we, if you go to our Idaho Real Estate Investor Club on Fractional, there's the commitment section, and you just reserve with, a 3% deposit to get started, and then we're giving people 30 days.
Yep.
30 days from now to join the club and get it funded, and we're gonna kick it off and start buying properties, because we've got properties in the queue, so we want to make sure that we're getting that money to work as quick as possible.
Yes.
Love it. Well, what are everyone waiting for, right? Go right there to the club, go lock in. And I think it's so important to, not only bet on the horse, but really bet on the jockey. And here we've got the best combination of both, right? Where you guys are, so on top of it as operators. You've had so much success already. Now you're bringing even more people from the community to be a part of your success, and building that to be even bigger. And, the market itself and the deals that you guys are picking, like, that is the reason why you've had so much success as well. So really excited, and can't wait for this club to, be oversubscribed. I know it will. So yeah, for everyone, don't wait too long, because this rocket ship is moving, and it is taking off soon. Thanks for listening in. Go join Tyson and Desi, and let's go get that bread together. Awesome. Cool.